If you are looking to build a shed in the backyard of your home, we have these exterior truss brackets for shipping containers. These exterior truss brackets allow you to build a low slope roof, and then it no longer looks like a shipping container. They allow you to add architectural features that make sea cans look more like sheds. Another thing you can do, build a tiny, tiny home. Maybe it's a trial run for your first attempt at modifying shipping containers, and you aspire to live in some sort of a container home in the future. When people tackle their first container project, they often learn a lot of hard lessons along the way. That's why I recommend tackling a small project. These smaller projects let you get familiar with the whole process of modifying shipping containers. You build confidence and you learn from small mistakes before you take on larger projects like a full-size shipping container home. With these specialty 9-foot shipping containers that have the window and the door on the side, they squeeze them inside another container as they ship over here from China, and they maximize the space that they can give you inside of this thing. China did not line up the corrugations the same on the one as the other side, so we had to modify this truss bracket. We cut the bottom lip off that makes this kind of corrugation dependent. It's not necessarily a bad idea anyway, because when we do this, we have to frame 22 inches on center, which isn't 24 inches on center or 16 inches on center. We have to follow that 279 millimeter corrugation pitch. And so with this instance, we were free agents. We were able to do anything, but we lost 2 screw holes. And I see the boys just drilled some extra holes, and they put 2 fasteners in there for redundancy rather than just relying on the one. But all in all, yeah, that actually worked really well. Another thing we changed this go around is we used a 10D. These nails are meant specifically for Simpson hangers, especially the hurricane ties and stuff. And so you pound those in with a hammer and they fit perfectly through the one hole and don't pierce through the other side on your softwood lumber. And what we do to get our single slope is we take call it the truss or the rafter, and we run it through a table saw on an angle, and we actually just get it from a 2x10 down to a 2x6 over this, I don't know what it is, 10 or 12 feet. And that is enough slope to shed water. So we set in our rafters in the truss bracket here. We can install our fascia boards, make sure everything's nice and square. And then you'll want to make sure that you put cross blocking in between these so that they don't warp on you and bow on you, because they are only pinned in the 2 corners otherwise. So this just keeps everything nice and square inside of here. And we always stagger those so you can just get at them so easily with your air nailer. We now have our 3/4 inch treated plywood installed. This deck is solid, so this roof is gonna handle the snow load, no problem. And then we just use our zip flashing tape here. So this just seals up the seams just in case, but the double layer of the asphalt roof membrane should handle any moisture that's trying to get through here. And on the sides of these units, we used our white reline wall panels as the soffits. That cleans it up very nicely and gives it a nice, crisp, clean, finished look. We're gonna put ventilation in there, which is allow all the heat that hits that black asphalt roof to dissipate. But all in all, yeah, it really cleans up this container and makes it look like something, and probably fits in with your neighborhood a little bit better. And so this time for the fascia board, we're gonna try out LP's fascia board. This is a trim board and fascia board. It's basically like OSB, but I think there's a ton of glues in it, and it's very weather resistant. I'm not a huge fan of the aluminum stuff because it just bows and dents, and if you're not a pro tradesman installing that stuff, you can really make it not look good. So this, we want to just extend it below a little bit. So it's gonna cover this J channel that comes up to it. We'll probably be able to caulk that seam afterwards, and then we'll extend the asphalt ceiling just over it, probably about 3/8 of an inch. So this time around with these 3 containers, we continue to utilize this asphalt roll roofing product here. And this, you actually heat weld the seams. So it's pretty simple and allows us to shingle the roofs of these and have a replaceable roofing membrane. But with this low slope roof, what you should probably do if it wasn't going to an industrial mine site is use metal tin. That's gonna make sure that if it's nice and black, it will melt any of the ice that accumulates on here and really get that water to run off. This here with the security bars and the square tube, that is a Chinese welded in window. That was done at factory. Same thing with the doors. And the window's not so bad, but the doors with this access hatch latch, it's a little bit janky. And what we've done in the past is actually remove this door. We had to do some modifications, but we put a North American door on there with a regular lever. That worked out a lot better. something, if you're in and out of it often, you'll probably end up wrecking that latch, and maybe something you want to do. If I was able to keep one of these 3 containers for myself, I could see myself utilizing it at the lake, down by the dock to be specific. You can actually put in screw piles and set these things right down, and you don't wreck the waterfront. And with the strut line system, the modular interior of this thing, you can hang shelf brackets or pipe racks, and you could put life jackets in here, fishing rods, kayaks, paddle boards, all sorts of soaking wet gear in here. And because it's ventilated, it's gonna dry out, and you're not gonna be worried about growing a bunch of mold in here or rusting any bare metal inside. What would you use this thing for? So these brackets here, they're more than just a 26 gauge joist hanger. These are 10 gauge galvanized steel. This is all laser cut and bent, manufactured right here in Canada, and they provide you a ton of value for your money. So we're here shopping around, and we're looking for brackets that would be a similar level of detail, and I think I found one. So this here, it's a 4x4 adjustable post base bracket made by a certain brand, and it looks to be about a 16 to 18 gauge. And I would say maybe a little bit more intricate bending, but a lot lighter of steel. And this thing is $14.26 each. So a lot of people are concerned about the price of the exterior studding brackets, but they are made out of 10 gauge metal. That is way thicker than this and not much more in cost. This gives you a starting point. That is the hardest thing. So once you install these up on the container and you get some wood in there, you can visualize it and then get rolling on your next project. Whoa, that is a solid garden shed right there. If you enjoyed this video, please help us out. Give the video a like. If you want to see more cool shipping container modification projects, subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications. And as always, check us out at tcg.ca. Hope you learned something. Yo, guys.